Hi everybody, welcome back to Cast Book Nook. Today is December 1st. So, this month, the beginning of the month is going to be super busy for me. The later part of the month, I want to try to do a 30 books in 30 days challenge. A lot of that is going to depend on timing, of course, and when I start it and when I don't. I'm thinking about starting at December 10th and going all the way up until January 6th, I think is what day I put on the calendar. I don't really remember because it's written in a different notebook. It might actually be December 9th because that's a Wednesday. So, January 9th. So, December 10th to January 9th. A 30 books in 30 days challenge. I will record. Sorry, getting over a cold. I will talk about that later on in a different video because I've got an entire reading list that I'm trying to put together for that. So, December TBR List. What I'm currently reading, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. This book is awesome. I actually think I like this book better than Uprooted, although I'm not going through it nearly as quickly as I did because I'm only on page 202, and this is day 3. I also haven't been reading as much, so I'm trying to break out of my reading slump by reading books that I know that I like from authors that I know I enjoy. Audiobook that I'm currently listening to is audiobook Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansen. It's not bad so far. I'm only an hour into it, and it's a 14-hour audiobook. I am listening to it at a higher speed than 1, which I used to listen to, and then I picked the speed up. Not entirely sure about this one yet, so because I am only an hour into it. The story hasn't really picked up, so we will see how far I get into that one. I do have, so my audiobook, since I've got my phone in my hand, my audiobook TBR is Coming Clean by Kimberly Ray Miller, Midnight Curse by Melissa Olson, Blood Gamble by Melissa Olson, A Girl's Guide to Moving On by Debbie Macomber. You guys don't need to see those. And then Invasion of the Tearling by Erica Johansen, which is the second book in the Queen of the Tearling series. So those are my audiobooks that I'm going to try to get through this month. I'm doing a lot of drive time next week because I'm going from my house to Crystal City, back to Columbia, back to my house. So there's a lot of driving in there. So I'm hoping to get through at least 2 audiobooks next week, and then we'll see about the rest of them throughout the month. Physical books this month. So the TBR jar pick is buried in the stack somewhere, so I'll get to that. I'll tell you guys what it is when I get there. But first up, I got Escaping Houdini by Carrie Maniscalco from the library. This came in, let's say last week. So this came in. So I also have Stalking Jack the Ripper and Hunting Prince Dracula. So I've got this set to get through this month. This is actually my next book after Spinning Silver. I enjoyed the crap out of this book. This book is awesome. So was Hunting Prince Dracula, and I am expecting great things from Escaping Houdini. And speaking of series, I've also got the duology Strange the Dreamer and Muse of Nightmares. This was on my November to be read list, which I will not link in the description down below because November was a really bad reading month for me because I should have finished these by now because I love Strange the Dreamer and I know Muse of Nightmares is going to be fantastic. I just haven't read them yet. So, more series. Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer came in. I enjoyed Renegades. I actually should probably go pick Renegades back up, so I've got it fresh in my brain before I pick this one up. But the ending for Renegades, if you guys have read it, I immediately wanted to jump into Arch Enemies because I needed to know what happened. So, great things. Marissa Meyer is just fantastic. Her Cinder series, which is Lunar Chronicles, which Ray is gifting Cinder at the book club event that she's going to on the 3rd. I don't know if we'll get that copy back because we've never done one of these before, so we'll see. Man, I'm rambling. Okay, so speaking of book club, I finally get to participate this month because with everything going on, I haven't been able to. And the book of the month this month is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amar Tolls. It's supposed to be set in Russia. About the rules of civility. Oh, sorry, that's the author. It's the story of Count Alexander Rustov, set in 1922. Historical fiction, which we all know that I like. I don't necessarily love, but I like historical fiction, so this will hopefully be a quick and easy read. I believe this one is also historical fiction, The Clockmaker's Daughter. Again, I don't know anything about this one other than a person that I know in book club read it and loved it, so we'll see how this one goes too. I was trying to get books that other people have been excited for on this list, so that way I can be excited for them also. So it will be a huge disappointment if that book is not good. Also picked up Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha. I'm not sure how you say her last name. In my land, we're known as paper girls, easily torn, existing only for others to use and discard. But there's something that they've all forgotten about paper. It can light the world on fire and make it burn. So, interesting. Also done by the same company, James Patterson. So, you've got Carrie Maniscalco and now Natasha. So, from what I've seen of the people that he works with, he does not necessarily pick writers that are going to create stories that aren't fantastic. So I'm expecting great things from that book also. More series. Seafarer's Kiss and Navigator's Touch by Julie Ember. Seafarer's Kiss was a bisexual mermaid who fell in love with a female Viking who was left on an iceberg when her ship went down. And the Navigator's Touch follows the Viking. I don't remember their names because it's been a minute. But easy reads. So there's that. 2 more easy reads. City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab, about a 11-year-old whose parents search for ghosts, and her best friend is a ghost. The format on that is pretty easy to read. Rebel of Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I did not know this was part of the series when I picked it up. So if I like this one, I will probably pick the other books up in January. Sorry, still. I told you guys there would be a lot of these. What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I talked about this one in my November TBR. I'm not going to talk about it more here. Fantastic Beasts, the original screenplay. So, J.K. Rowling is awesome. I watched the newest Fantastic Beasts movie. I have questions. So many questions. So I'm hoping reading this may or may not, reading this along with reading the Harry Potter series may or may not help answer some of the questions that I had in the newest Fantastic Beasts movie. Yay. Okay. More books. So, I was also trying to clear off my own TBR shelf from 2018 since it is the end of the year. And several of these were on there. So the ones that were on there were these 4. Masques, Wolfsbane, Inked, and Dark Bites. These two are short stories, anthology and short stories. So Dark Bites I have on Kindle format, so when I'm sitting there with just my phone in my hand, I will be reading this one. Also, the last owned TBR book was Into the Dreaming by Karen Marie Moning. Not sure what to really say about this one, other than I'm gonna take the jacket off, cause yeah. Alright, last month's TBR jar pick was The Color of Magic by Terry Prachett. Obviously, I haven't read it yet. This month's TBR jar pick of the month was Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I started this earlier this year, and I never finished it. So I get to read it this month. This month's Hooked on Books pick of the month was City of Dark Magic by Magnus Flyte. I don't know what this one is about, but this is another. I wanted to read this earlier this year, but never did. Alright, 2 more library books, and then I think I'm just going to show you guys the next stack that I'm going to try to get through. So we've got Burnt Mountains by Anne River Siddons. Picked up the audiobook version of this one and never listened to it, so I'm just going to read it physical form. And then Kitty Rocks the House by Carrie Vaughn. This is book 11 in the Kitty Norville series. I noticed that I've been reading a lot of grieving books, and books that talk about grief, and books that have some sort of death element to it. This one starts off that way. That's actually what made me notice it more than anything else. And I'll talk about some of the November books that I read in another video. So, those are all the ones that I know that I'm going to try to get through, for sure. This next stack that I'm just going to show you guys and not talk about are books that I'm going to try to get through once I get the rest of these done. So, these 2 books not complete. I'm missing a Y book, which I need to go pick up. But ABC Challenge books are the bottom 2. Hot Blooded is a owned TBR book that I haven't read for various purposes. These 2 right here are just random books that I picked on the shelf. Spellkey Trilogy, I think, was either the September or October TBR jar pick. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, I haven't read it yet. And that was a Hooked on Books pick way earlier in the month. And then finally, the Pillars of the World trilogy by Anne Bishop. I started this one in California but never finished it. So hopefully I can get through these books too. There will probably be a lot more books in December that I will talk about because of the furlough that is potentially coming up on the 10th. I will be done with school on the 16th, and the 30 books in 30 days challenge that I will do a completely different video on in a couple weeks, or when that challenge actually starts. So, now that I've rambled enough, there's a lot of books. So, I hope you guys have a great Saturday morning, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.